Hey there, Cinephiles. So today's video has been a few months in the making, so please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. I watched every single Pixar movie, and today I am ranking them. One thing to preface this video is that this is my personal ranking. It is not the definitive list of these movies. I mean, it is, but art is subjective, so. I already know I'm going to piss some people off with my takes on certain movies, but you know what? That's okay. Let me know your rankings down in the comments below. Okay, there's 23 movies, so let's rank. Number 23. At number 23 is Cars 2. Mater is Pixar's worst character, and the fact that they made him the main character in this one, just what the fuck? Number 22. Next up is The Good Dinosaur. There's a couple of cool shots, and Sam Elliott's voice is nice to hear, but man oh man, the rest of the movie is so boring and uninspired. And you know what? I'm getting bored just thinking about it. Number 21. Brave, the only princess movie for Pixar, is bad. It's not a good movie at all. The only thing I liked about this movie were the three little brothers, and that is why it is slightly beating out The Good Dinosaur. Number 20. With Cars, you can feel the cash grab. This is Pixar just trying to get some merchandise money. And I mean, it worked, as there was a trilogy of Cars movies. And Mater, it is still you. Number 19. Onward seemed like it would have the perfect premise for a Pixar movie, but man oh man did it under-deliver. Not only does it have one of the most annoying Pixar characters in Chris Pratt's character, who I can't even remember, but they took the magic out of their own movie. For the most part, it just feels like such a slog to get through, and I understand this is a world that lost its magic and it's trying to regain its magic, but I just straight up didn't care. Some of the visuals are very nice. I did like that they took a very mature route at the end. However, I'm never gonna watch this one again. Number 18. A Bug's Life. It's fine. It's okay. Nothing really to offend me or anyone, I'd hope. But pretty fine villain, pretty fine characters. Nothing that's really gonna stand out, except for a couple funny moments with that caterpillar and that great accent. Number 17. Finding Dory is a completely fine movie. There's some great animation for the octopus, and as well as some of the water effects in this movie, and it showed Piper as its short film, which is one of my favorite Pixar short films, so that was good. Number 16. Cars 3 is the first time Pixar actually tried to make a good Cars movie, and they almost got there. It's a pretty decent movie with a lot of predictable storylines, and I don't know, it just really felt like the Cars franchise should have been about anything else. But thankfully, there's a lot less Mater in this one, so it has that going for it. Number 15. Incredibles 2 is completely unnecessary with some weird animation, but some good moments. Jack Jack with Edna and Jack Jack fighting the raccoon are fun scenes, and the action scene of Elastigirl trying to run after that train is actually really well animated. Besides that, there's nothing really too incredible about it. Just one of those movies that you probably pop on TV to have in the background. Number 14. Monsters University is yet another film that is completely unnecessary, but man, it was actually quite fun. Overall, it was a good time. I love the college games. The characters were very well formed for the most part. I did like Mike Wazowski having that arc, learning that he might not be scary, but he's definitely worth something. He still has value in this world of scaring. Number 13. Finding Nemo. Yeah. It may be more consistent than the next two movies on this list, but oh my goodness, it felt like I was swimming in circles with this movie. Marlin was learning something, then unlearning it, then learning the same thing, then unlearning the same thing. It just kept going and going. None of the characters I really liked all too much, except for Willem Dafoe's fish. I thought he was a great side character to have. Everyone else just felt kind of annoying, if I'm being honest. A lot of the humor was low-hanging fruit, and it just kept going back to it. A lot of fart jokes. There are some great themes and lessons in this movie. I just felt like they kind of kept hammering it home. But the water animation still holds up, that it is still very beautiful to watch. Overall, like, I see why a lot of people love it. I'm just not one of those people. Number 12. Up. Two wonderful scenes does not make a movie great. The opening scene is one of the best scenes in Pixar by far, and the scene in which the balloons on the house is revealed and it takes off for flight is so beautifully animated and scored. But nothing else about this movie is memorable or good or just worth talking about. Sure, there's Kevin, sure, there's the little Boy Scout kid, but do you really like that? In all honesty, they felt kind of annoying. Besides those two exquisite scenes, this movie could have been towards the very bottom. Number 11, Wall-E. Great first half. Then humans show up and it is generic and boring, and man, I just straight up don't care. I know the argument is that you can't have a whole movie silent. Yes, you can though. And they were doing it right for the first half of this movie. That robot love story is just exquisite. But then we get into environmentalism, which was just very on the nose. We get into these humans, which has some kind of mixed messages in there, I think. And the villain by the end was just this soulless piece of wheel. I don't even know. Look, they gave so many robots personality, and the one that they don't is supposed to be the villain, which we're supposed to fear or whatever, but I was just so disconnected once we hit the halfway point that I just straight up didn't care how the movie ended. Besides that though, wonderful score, beautiful animation, especially out in space, and that love story really works well in the first half of the movie. Number 10. Honestly, Toy Story 4 is pretty interchangeable with Nemo, Up, and Wall-E. I know that's a huge diss to many of you, but today it ranks above them in my opinion. This movie has some of, if not the best animation that Pixar has ever had. That opening scene is so well done and captivating. And honestly, Woody's arc in this movie is just very well thought out and well written. Forky, not so much, and there were a lot of side quests that I really didn't care for either, which honestly makes this movie feel more like an epilogue to Toy Story 3 rather than its own film. I still had a really good time with this movie, and there just should have been more Key and Peele in my opinion. Number 9. Monsters Inc. is definitely one of the studio's funniest movies. It is very witty, quick-paced. There's a lot of great world building in this movie too. It's very smart. It's just so fun and imaginative, and there's even a Yeti, which you know is always gonna get me. However, the emotional beats in this story didn't hit me quite as strong as I would have liked. Maybe that was because of the villains, and I didn't really care for them all too much. I understand Randall's really great, but there's another villain that was just... I guess, yeah, but... I don't know, it just kind of fell flat on those beats, but overall the experience is still really great. It's really fun, a lot of very fun characters, and once again, it's just so imaginative with the doors and the Yeti, man. You know, the Yeti. Number 8. Toy Story is the start of Pixar, and it still holds up pretty well. Of course, the animation has come a long way since 1995, but this is still a pretty great movie. From Buzz's existential crisis, to Sid being a great villain, to even all of the quotable lines of dialogue, there is so much to love about this movie. However, with those great things being put aside, there are some issues with this movie. There's some pacing issues, as well as Woody just being a douche for way too much of the movie. I understand there's this whole arc for him, but it just kind of felt weird how he was an a-hole for most of the movie, and then right there towards the end he was able to switch it and become a good guy that we love in the other installments of this franchise. Number 7, Toy Story 3. Honestly, this is such a big jump in quality. The villain is top notch, his whole backstory and character design, even just smelling like strawberries, is so wonderful. The voice acting is superb across the whole board, especially Michael Keaton's Ken. Even though there's so much to love about this movie, especially all of the emotional moments, the story feels a little loose in a way. I don't know. I just couldn't fully connect to the story. I still loved all of the character work done with it though. But when I'm nitpicking only these spots, I have to pick out what I didn't like more from other movies. So in all honesty, it's just a story on this one, but everything else about this movie is just firing off on all cylinders. Number 6, Coco. The music, the visuals, the characters, the designs, everything about this movie is so top tier. The Land of the Dead especially is just so immersive and gorgeously realized. And on top of that, this is one of the only movies ever to actually make me cry. And even then, at the end of this movie, it just picks you up and makes you want to dance. Every single song is a hit, especially every single rendition of Remember Me. The only issue I have with this movie is Act 2. There are quite a few times where it kind of felt like they were meandering around. But besides that, everything else is just so freaking spectacular, and I will definitely remember this one. Number 5. Inside Out's themes of depression and feelings are just so damn impactful and mature. Only Pixar could have made this movie, in all honesty. The way all of the themes and lessons are packaged in this movie in such an imaginative and creative way allows for almost any age group to enjoy this movie and get the lessons that it's stating. The score is also something that I would just simply never forget. It is so simple, yet it encompasses all of the film's themes so perfectly and elegantly. And it is so important to state that this movie will start conversations that are so needed in so many families for years to come. Number 4. Yes, Soul is the latest Pixar movie to come out, but it already deserves a spot at number 4. It is so well done. There's so many great things about this movie, from the lighting to the characters and its maturity on how it handles those themes. The themes of what it means to actually be living, why we have sparks, why we have passions. Is that our reason for living? It is so well executed, and it doesn't hold your hand. It is so mature in how it delves into these topics while still being a very fun time. The visuals alone are so unique and unlike any other Pixar movie that it catapults itself up into at least the top 5. Number 3. Toy Story 2. Yes, it is the highest ranked Toy Story movie, and yes, it is the best one by far. The fact that there's so many villains and they all work so well in different ways is astonishing. This movie is so deep with its themes. Woody's arc is so much better in this one than it is in the first one. The themes of wanting to be adored by many or wanting to be loved by a few is just so impactful. And everyone's backstory in this film is just so deep and emotional, and you feel for these characters. They're freaking animated toys, and these characters are so fully realized. I can't even comprehend how well the writing is at times. And all that to say that this is packaged in one of the funniest Pixar movies of all time, in my opinion, and probably the funniest. They even spoof Buzz Lightyear in the first movie, and it just works so well. This even has one of the best Pixar scenes of all time with Woody's repair scene. It is so satisfying and just a joy to watch. There's so much to remember about this movie, and this is definitely a movie that I will always come back to and just enjoy. Number 2. This might be a surprise ranking for some people, but Ratatouille is deservedly the second best Pixar movie. The themes about classism, criticism, prejudice, and even inspiration is just so perfectly balanced with comedy that it's exquisite. All of these characters are oddballs in their own way, and it just works so perfectly in the story that it's telling. A rat being an outcast in its own rat family and even wanting to be a cook should not work as well as this movie does. One of Pixar's best scenes is Eagle's flashback. It is masterful storytelling with little to no dialogue explaining what that scene is. And in that moment, you connect so much with the supposed villain of the story. It's such a perfect example that we don't know everyone's story, and sometimes life just hits you hard. There's even some great visuals of synesthesia in here when Remy is eating the strawberry and cheese at the same time and you see those colors going around. Oh man, this film does so much in a delightful way, and it just has so much to say in such a beautiful package. Number 1. This is honestly Pixar's magnum opus. It is as close to perfection as the studio has ever gotten to yet. And I can't believe it's one of the greatest superhero movies of all time. Yes, I am talking about The Incredibles. This movie deals with family drama, unethical laws, midlife crisis, what it means to hide that special part of you just so you can be normal, mass hysteria, and just so much more. This movie's writing is just so well done, and it's so witty and honestly near perfect. All of the setups are paid off wonderfully and done without a misstep. Such a great dramedy with great character work, and the bonds between them just leap off the screen and feel so realistic. The character work that is done through each of the characters' powers is just so freaking smart. It does all of this and it still manages to have such great action set pieces. The battle at the city at the end, oh man, it's just so freaking great. This movie has something for everyone and then some. I love this movie so much, and it deserves to be Pixar's number 1 film. And those are my Pixar rankings. Do you agree with them? Probably not, so let me know your rankings down in the comments below. I had a lot of fun making this. It took me quite a while to see all of these movies and rank them. So please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and share. As always, thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing. Please stay tuned for more Yeti Films content, and I'll write you later.